Cops tie up black teacher for laughs. Don't realize who her husband is. Willow Creek was a town of contradictions. On the surface, it was a picture of idyllic suburban life, with its manicured lawns, charming colonial houses, and friendly neighbors waving from their porches. But beneath this veneer of tranquility simmered a current of racial tension, a legacy of prejudice that ran deep within the town's history. Jasmine Bellwether, a woman with skin the color of warm honey and a smile that could light up a room, was a beacon of hope in this divided community. She was a woman who embodied resilience, her spirit forged in the fires of generations who had fought for equality and justice. Jasmine was a third-grade teacher at Willow Creek Elementary, where her classroom was a haven of learning and laughter. She had a knack for connecting with children, for igniting their curiosity and nurturing their dreams. Her students adored her, their faces lighting up at her arrival each morning, eager to soak up her warmth and wisdom. Jasmine's husband, Marcus, was a detective in the Willow Creek Police Department, a man of imposing stature and quiet strength. Marcus carried himself with an air of authority that commanded respect. He was known for his sharp intellect, his methodical approach to investigations, and his unwavering commitment to justice. Marcus was a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes. He was a pillar of integrity in a department riddled with corruption, a beacon of hope in a system that often failed to protect the very people it was sworn to serve. Their home, a cozy Victorian nestled amongst towering oak trees, was a sanctuary from the world's troubles. It was a place where laughter echoed through the hallways, where the aroma of Jasmine's home-cooked meals filled the air, and where love radiated from every corner. They were a picture of domestic bliss, their love a testament to the power of connection in a world that often felt isolating. Jasmine and Marcus were a force to be reckoned with, a testament to the power of love and unity in a town that desperately needed both. But their peaceful existence was about to be shattered, their love put to the ultimate test. The undercurrent of racial tension in Willow Creek was about to erupt, and Jasmine and Marcus would find themselves caught in the crossfire. The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the sidewalks as Jasmine made her way home from school. Her mind was still buzzing with the day's lessons, the echoes of her students' laughter a comforting soundtrack to her walk. As she rounded a corner, she noticed a commotion ahead. A group of police officers had gathered around a young black man, their voices raised in anger, their hands resting menacingly on their holsters. Jasmine's heart pounded in her chest. A familiar dread washed over her, a feeling she knew all too well as a black woman living in a town where prejudice often lurked beneath the surface. She couldn't ignore the scene unfolding before her. Her sense of justice, ingrained in her from a young age, compelled her to act. Taking a deep breath, Jasmine approached the group, her steps measured and deliberate. "Excuse me, officers," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Is there a problem here?" The officers turned to face her, their expressions hardening at her interruption. One of them, a burly man with a sneer etched across his face, stepped forward. "Mind your own business, lady," he growled. "This doesn't concern you." Jasmine stood her ground, her gaze unwavering. "I believe it does concern me," she replied. "I'm a member of this community, and I won't tolerate this kind of behavior." The officer's sneer deepened. "You think you're special, lady?" he scoffed. "Just because you're a teacher, you think you can tell us what to do?" Jasmine's patience was wearing thin. "I'm not telling you what to do," she said, her voice rising with indignation. "I'm asking you to treat this young man with respect." The officer's eyes narrowed. "You're asking for trouble, lady?" he warned, his hand inching closer to his holster. Jasmine refused to back down. "I'm not afraid of trouble," she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. "I'm afraid of what will happen if we allow this kind of behavior to continue." The officer's face contorted in anger. He lunged at Jasmine, his hands reaching for her arms. Jasmine tried to resist, but the officer was too strong. He pinned her against the police car, his grip tightening painfully. "You're going to regret this, lady," he snarled, his breath hot against her cheek. The other officers laughed, their amusement echoing through the quiet street. They watched as their colleague dragged Jasmine to a nearby lamppost and, with a cruel twist of his lips, tied her to it, her arms bound tightly behind her back. Jasmine struggled against the restraints, her heart pounding in her chest. Fear gnawed at her, but she refused to let it consume her. She would not be broken by these men. She would not be silenced. Humiliation burned through her veins. The officers continued to taunt her, their laughter a cruel mockery of her helplessness. Passers-by averted their gaze, pretending not to see the injustice unfolding before their eyes. Jasmine felt a wave of despair wash over her. Was this the reality of her town? A place where prejudice and brutality reigned supreme? As the minutes ticked by, Jasmine's hope began to dwindle. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long, ominous shadows. She closed her eyes, trying to block out the officers' jeering laughter, trying to summon the strength to endure this ordeal. Suddenly, a car screeched to a halt beside the group. A familiar voice, filled with fury, cut through the air. What in the hell is going on here? Jasmine's heart leaped with a mix of relief and dread. It was Marcus, his voice booming with authority. He had just finished his shift and was driving home when he spotted the commotion. His eyes, usually calm and collected, were now blazing with rage. The officers froze, their faces paling as they recognized their colleague's husband. They had never expected Jasmine to be connected to someone within the police department, let alone a respected detective like Marcus. Their arrogance evaporated, replaced by a fear they had never known before. Marcus strode towards the group, his every step radiating an aura of power and authority. He took in the scene before him, his gaze settling on his wife bound to the lamppost, her face a mixture of defiance and fear. A wave of nausea washed over him, his heart clenching with a pain he had never experienced before. "Untie her," he commanded, his voice laced with steel. The officers hesitated, their bravado melting away under Marcus's intense gaze. They fumbled with the restraints, their hands shaking as they freed Jasmine from her bonds. Marcus rushed to Jasmine's side, his arms enveloping her in a protective embrace. He held her close, his body shielding her from the officer's prying eyes. He could feel her trembling against him, the warmth of her tears soaking through his shirt. "Are you okay?" he whispered, his voice filled with concern. Jasmine nodded, her tears flowing freely now that she was safe in her husband's arms. "I'm okay," she choked out, "just shaken." Marcus gently cupped her face, his thumb wiping away her tears. "I'm so sorry this happened," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "I promise you, those responsible will be held accountable." Jasmine looked up at him, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. Marcus turned to face the officers, his expression hardening. "You have no idea who you've messed with," he said, his voice low and menacing. "You've crossed a line and you will pay the price." The officers cowered under his gaze, their earlier arrogance replaced with fear. They knew they had made a grave mistake, one that could cost them their careers and their freedom. But the revelation of Marcus's identity was only the beginning. As the initial shock subsided, a chilling realization dawned on Jasmine. The officers who had humiliated and degraded her, who had treated her like a common criminal, were her husband's colleagues. They were the people he worked with, the people he trusted to uphold the law. A wave of nausea washed over her. The betrayal cut deep, shaking her faith in the very institution that was supposed to protect her. She looked at Marcus, his face etched with anger and disgust, and she saw the same realization dawning on him. The incident had ripped the veil off the illusion of equality in Willow Creek, exposing the ugly reality of racism that lurked beneath the surface. It had shattered their sense of security, their belief that they were safe in their own community. But it had also ignited a fire within them, a fierce determination to fight for justice, to expose the corruption that had festered within the police department for far too long. They knew that this was not just about them anymore. It was about every person of color who had ever been subjected to discrimination and abuse. The incident at the lamppost became a catalyst for change in Willow Creek. Jasmine, fueled by a mix of anger and determination, refused to let the matter be swept under the rug. She knew that her silence would only perpetuate the cycle of abuse and impunity. She had a choice to make: remain silent and hope for internal resolution, or speak out and risk the consequences. With Marcus's unwavering support, Jasmine chose to go public. She contacted the local newspaper, her voice trembling but resolute as she recounted her ordeal. Her story, a stark contrast to the idyllic image Willow Creek projected, sent shockwaves through the community. The newspaper ran a front-page article with the headline, "Local Teacher Humiliated by Police," accompanied by a photo of Jasmine, her face etched with a mixture of defiance and pain. The public outcry was swift and fierce. Protests erupted in the streets, with people from all walks of life demanding justice for Jasmine and accountability for the officers involved. The Willow Creek Police Department was thrust into the spotlight, its reputation tarnished by the actions of a few. The officers involved in the incident were placed on administrative leave pending an internal investigation. The police chief, a man known for his staunch defense of his officers, issued a public apology, condemning the officers' actions and promising a thorough investigation. But his words rang hollow to many, who saw them as a desperate attempt to quell the public outrage and protect the department's image. Jasmine's decision to speak out had far-reaching consequences. It sparked a much-needed conversation about race and policing in Willow Creek, forcing the community to confront the uncomfortable truths that had long been swept under the rug. It challenged the town's carefully constructed image of harmony and tolerance, exposing the deep-seated prejudices that simmered beneath the surface. The incident also had a profound impact on Jasmine's personal life. She became a symbol of resistance, her story inspiring others to speak out against injustice. But it also made her a target. She received hate mail, threatening phone calls, and online harassment from those who sought to silence her. Her once peaceful life was now filled with anxiety and fear. Despite the challenges, Jasmine remained resolute. She knew that her voice mattered, that her story could make a difference. She refused to be intimidated into silence, her determination fueled by the support of her community and the unwavering love of her husband. Marcus, meanwhile, found himself torn between his loyalty to his wife and his duty to his badge. He was furious at his colleagues for their actions, but he was also aware of the deep-seated corruption within the department. He knew that speaking out against his fellow officers could jeopardize his career, but he also knew that he couldn't stand idly by while injustice prevailed. He began his own quiet investigation, digging into the backgrounds of the officers involved in Jasmine's incident. He discovered a pattern of misconduct, a history of racial profiling and excessive force complaints that had been ignored or dismissed by the department. He realized that Jasmine's case was not an isolated incident, but rather a symptom of a systemic problem within the police force. Marcus found himself at a crossroads. He could choose to remain silent, to protect his career and avoid the backlash from his colleagues. Or he could choose to stand with his wife, to fight for justice and expose the corruption that had plagued the department for far too long. As the town grappled with the fallout from Jasmine's story, a secondary plot began to unfold, one that would further expose the rot within the Willow Creek Police Department. Marcus, driven by his unwavering commitment to justice and his love for his wife, delved deeper into his investigation. He uncovered a network of corruption that extended far beyond the officers involved in Jasmine's case, implicating high-ranking officials within the department. He discovered a secret society within the police force, a clandestine group known as the Guardians. This group, composed of some of the department's most senior officers, operated outside the law, using their positions of power to intimidate and silence those who threatened their authority. They were involved in a range of illegal activities, from accepting bribes to covering up crimes committed by their own members. Marcus's investigation led him to a series of unsolved cases, including the disappearance of several black men who had dared to speak out against police brutality. He began to suspect that the Guardians were responsible, that they had silenced these men to protect their own corrupt interests. As Marcus dug deeper, he realized that he had stumbled upon something far more dangerous than he had initially imagined. The Guardians were a powerful force within the department, their influence extending to the highest levels of the town's government. He knew that exposing them would put his career and his life at risk, but he was determined to bring them to justice. He began to gather evidence, meticulously documenting their illegal activities. He interviewed witnesses, reviewed police records, and pieced together the puzzle of corruption that had plagued the department for years. He worked tirelessly, driven by a sense of duty and a desire to protect his community from those who were sworn to serve and protect it. Marcus's investigation was met with resistance from within the police force. He faced threats and intimidation from his colleagues, who warned him to back down and let the matter rest. But Marcus was undeterred. He knew that the truth had to be exposed, no matter the cost. He confided in a few trusted colleagues, officers who shared his commitment to justice and were appalled by the corruption within the department. They offered their support, providing him with information and helping him to navigate the treacherous waters of the internal investigation. As Marcus's investigation progressed, he realized that he was not alone in his fight against the Guardians. There were others within the department who were aware of their activities and were secretly working to expose them. He began to forge alliances, building a network of like-minded officers who were determined to bring the Guardians down. The secondary plot, with its intricate web of corruption and conspiracy, added another layer of complexity to the story. It highlighted the systemic nature of the problem, the deep-seated rot that had infected the Willow Creek Police Department. It also showcased the courage and integrity of those who dared to stand up against injustice, even when it meant risking their own careers and lives. The incident at the lamppost and its aftermath had a profound and complex impact on Jasmine and Marcus's relationship. They found themselves navigating uncharted territory, their love tested by the trauma they had endured and the challenges they faced. The incident, while horrifying, also forged a new level of intimacy and understanding between them. In the initial days following the incident, Jasmine struggled with a range of emotions: fear, vulnerability, anger, and a deep sense of betrayal. The experience of being publicly humiliated and degraded had shaken her to her core. She found herself withdrawing, seeking solace in the quiet corners of their home, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the weight of her experience. Marcus, sensing her vulnerability, became her anchor. He showered her with love and support, offering her a safe haven in the midst of the storm. He encouraged her to speak her truth, assuring her that her voice mattered and that she was not alone. He held her close, whispering words of comfort and reassurance, his presence a constant reminder that she was loved and protected. Their shared experience, though painful, brought them closer than ever before. They found solace in each other's arms, their love a beacon of light in the darkness. They talked openly about their fears and anxieties, their vulnerability forging a deeper connection between them. They found strength in their shared determination to fight for justice, their love fueling their resolve. However, the stress of the situation also took its toll on their relationship. Jasmine's newfound activism and Marcus's relentless pursuit of justice often left them with little time for each other. They found themselves caught in a whirlwind of media appearances, protests, and investigations, their once peaceful life replaced with a constant state of upheaval. The constant threat of retaliation from the Guardians added another layer of stress to their relationship. They lived with a constant undercurrent of fear, knowing that their actions had made them enemies of powerful people within the police department. They had to be constantly vigilant, taking precautions to ensure their safety and the safety of their loved ones. Despite the challenges their love endured, they made a conscious effort to carve out time for each other, to nurture their relationship amidst the chaos. They stole moments of intimacy amidst the storm, their love a reminder of the life they were fighting to protect. They found joy in the small things, a shared meal, a quiet evening by the fireplace, a simple touch that conveyed a world of love and support. One evening, as they sat on their porch, watching the fireflies dance in the twilight, Jasmine turned to Marcus, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you for being my rock," she said softly. "I don't know what I would do without you." Marcus smiled, his gaze filled with love. "I'll always be here for you," he assured her. No matter what. Their love story became a symbol of resilience, a testament to the power of love to overcome adversity. They were a beacon of hope in a community torn apart by division. Their love a reminder of the shared humanity that connected them all. As Marcus's investigation into the Guardians progressed, the tension in Willow Creek reached a fever pitch. The town was divided, with some supporting the police and others demanding accountability for their actions. The Guardians, feeling the pressure, became more brazen in their attempts to silence Marcus and discredit Jasmine. Marcus knew that he was getting closer to exposing their crimes. He had gathered enough evidence to implicate several high-ranking officers, including the police chief himself. He decided to confront the chief, hoping to persuade him to cooperate and bring the Guardians down from within. He arranged a meeting, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The meeting took place in the chief's office, the atmosphere thick with tension. Marcus laid out his evidence, detailing the extent of the Guardians' corruption and their involvement in numerous crimes. He presented the chief with a choice: join him in exposing the Guardians and restoring integrity to the department, or face the consequences of his complicity. The chief listened in silence, his face a mask of indifference. When Marcus finished, the chief leaned back in his chair, his gaze fixed on Marcus. "You've made a grave mistake, Detective Bellwether," he said, his voice low and menacing. "You've stumbled upon something you shouldn't have." Marcus stood his ground, his eyes unwavering. "I'm doing my duty," he said. "I'm upholding the law." The chief let out a dry laugh. "The law?" He scoffed. "You think the law matters to men like us? We are the law." Marcus realized that the chief was not going to cooperate. He was part of the Guardians, a protector of their corrupt network. He had underestimated the depth of their influence and the lengths they would go to protect themselves. "You're going to regret this, Bellwether," the chief warned. "You and your wife." Marcus felt a surge of anger, but he kept his composure. He knew that he couldn't let his emotions get the better of him. He had to stay focused on his mission, on exposing the Guardians and bringing them to justice. As he turned to leave, the chief's voice stopped him. "One more thing, Detective," he said, a sinister smile spreading across his face. "We know where your wife works. We know where she lives. We know everything about her." Marcus froze, his blood running cold. The threat hung in the air, unspoken but clear. The Guardians were willing to harm Jasmine to protect themselves. They were willing to cross any line, to break any law to maintain their power. Marcus left the office, his mind racing. He had to protect Jasmine, but he also couldn't back down from his investigation. He was caught in a dilemma, his loyalty to his wife clashing with his commitment to justice. He knew that he had to make a decision, and he had to make it fast. The climactic event, with its palpable tension and ominous threats, marked a turning point in the story. It set the stage for a final confrontation between Marcus and the Guardians, a battle that would determine the fate of Willow Creek and the future of its community. The threat against Jasmine pushed Marcus over the edge. He knew he could no longer rely on internal channels to bring down the Guardians. They were too entrenched, their influence too pervasive. He had to take a more drastic approach, one that would expose their crimes to the public and force the authorities to act. He decided to leak his findings to the press. He contacted a seasoned investigative journalist, Sarah Jenkins, known for her fearless reporting and her commitment to uncovering the truth. He shared his evidence with her, detailing the extent of the Guardians' corruption and their involvement in numerous crimes, including the harassment of his wife and the disappearance of several black men. Sarah was shocked by what she heard. She knew that this was a story that needed to be told, a story that could shake the foundations of Willow Creek and expose the dark underbelly of its police department. She promised Marcus that she would do everything in her power to bring the Guardians to justice. The next day, Sarah's exposé was published on the front page of the Willow Creek Gazette. The article, titled "The Guardians, a shadowy network of corruption within the Willow Creek Police Department," sent shockwaves through the community. The detailed accounts of the Guardians' crimes, their abuse of power, and their attempts to silence those who dared to oppose them, sparked outrage and disbelief. The public outcry was immediate and overwhelming. Protests erupted in the streets, with people demanding the arrest of the Guardians and the resignation of the police chief. The Willow Creek Police Department was under siege, its reputation in tatters. The mayor, facing mounting pressure from the public, was forced to take action. He ordered an independent investigation into the allegations against the Guardians. A special prosecutor was appointed to oversee the investigation and bring charges against those involved. The FBI was also called in to assist with the investigation, their resources and expertise adding weight to the pursuit of justice. The investigation moved swiftly, with the special prosecutor and the FBI working tirelessly to gather evidence and interview witnesses. The Guardians' network began to crumble, with officers turning on each other to save themselves. The code of silence that had protected them for so long was broken, as fear and self-preservation trumped loyalty. One by one, the members of the Guardians were arrested and charged with various crimes, including corruption, abuse of power, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy. The police chief was also arrested, his career and reputation in ruins. He was charged with being the ringleader of the Guardians, his years of turning a blind eye to their activities finally catching up with him. The trials were a media spectacle, with the nation watching as the once powerful members of the Guardians were brought to justice. The evidence against them was overwhelming, and the jury found them guilty on all charges. They were sentenced to lengthy prison terms. Their reign of terror finally brought to an end. The community of Willow Creek breathed a collective sigh of relief. The Guardians were gone, their network of corruption dismantled. Justice had been served, and the town could finally begin to heal. The conflict resolution, though hard one, brought a sense of closure and a renewed hope for the future. The downfall of the Guardians marked a turning point for Willow Creek. The community had faced its demons and emerged stronger, its faith in justice renewed. The incident at the lamppost, though traumatic, had served as a catalyst for change, exposing the deep-seated corruption within the police department and forcing the town to confront its own prejudices. The Willow Creek Police Department underwent a complete overhaul. The new police chief, a woman of integrity and unwavering commitment to justice, implemented sweeping reforms. She introduced mandatory training on racial bias and de-escalation techniques, established a civilian review board to oversee police conduct, and fostered a culture of transparency and accountability within the department. The community, too, underwent a transformation. The incident had sparked a dialogue about race and equality, forcing residents to confront their own biases and prejudices. Community leaders organized workshops and forums to promote understanding and reconciliation. The town began to heal, the divisions that had once separated its residents slowly mending. Jasmine and Marcus, now recognized as heroes in their community, continued their activism. Jasmine, her voice amplified by her experience, became a powerful advocate for police reform and racial justice. She spoke at rallies and conferences, sharing her story and inspiring others to fight for change. She also worked with the new police chief to develop community policing initiatives, fostering dialogue and collaboration between officers and the people they served. Marcus, now a respected captain within the reformed police department, dedicated himself to rebuilding trust between the police and the community. He led by example, demonstrating integrity and compassion in his interactions with the public. He mentored young officers, instilling in them the values of fairness, justice, and service. Together, Jasmine and Marcus helped to usher in a new era of policing in Willow Creek, one based on mutual respect, transparency, and accountability. Their story became a testament to the power of individuals to effect change, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The turning point marked a new direction for Willow Creek, a path towards healing and reconciliation. The town had learned from its mistakes, its residents embracing the values of diversity and inclusion. The incident at the lamppost, though a painful reminder of the town's past, had also paved the way for a brighter future. The events of the past months had a profound impact on Jasmine and Marcus, both individually and as a couple. They had faced adversity with courage and resilience, emerging from the ordeal stronger and more united than ever before. Jasmine had grown from a beloved teacher into a fearless advocate for justice. Her voice, once hesitant and unsure, now rang out with clarity and conviction. She had discovered a strength within herself that she never knew she possessed, a strength that had enabled her to confront injustice and inspire others to do the same. She had also learned the importance of forgiveness. While she would never forget the humiliation and pain she had endured, she refused to let anger and resentment consume her. She chose to focus on healing and reconciliation, working to build a better future for her community. Marcus had evolved from a quiet and reserved detective into a leader committed to reform. He had faced his colleagues' betrayal with integrity and courage, refusing to compromise his values even when it meant putting his own life at risk. He had emerged from the ordeal with a renewed sense of purpose, his commitment to justice unwavering. He had also learned the importance of speaking truth to power. He had challenged the status quo, exposing the corruption within his own department and risking his career to do what was right. He had discovered that true leadership lies not in blindly following orders, but in standing up for what is just and ethical. Their relationship had deepened, their love tested and strengthened by the trials they had faced. They had learned to rely on each other, to find strength in their shared vulnerability. They had emerged from the ordeal with a deeper understanding of each other, their love a testament to the power of connection in the face of adversity. As Jasmine reflected on the past months, she realized that the incident had not only exposed the darkness within their community, but had also revealed the strength and resilience of the human spirit. She had witnessed the power of collective action, the unwavering support of her community, and the unwavering love of her husband. She had learned that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope. There is always the possibility of change, of healing, of a better future. And she knew that she would continue to fight for that future, her voice a beacon of hope in a world that desperately needed it. Marcus, too, reflected on the journey they had taken. He was proud of the role he had played in bringing down the Guardians and reforming the police department. He was grateful for Jasmine's strength and courage, her unwavering support throughout the ordeal. He knew that their love had been the anchor that had kept him grounded, the guiding light that had led him through the darkness. Together, they had faced their fears, confronted injustice, and emerged stronger than ever before. Their story was a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the pursuit of justice. It was a story of personal growth, transformation, and the unwavering belief in the possibility of a better tomorrow. The story of Jasmine and Marcus Bellwether is a testament to the enduring power of love, resilience, and the unwavering pursuit of justice. It is a story of a community forced to confront its own dark underbelly, to acknowledge the deep-seated prejudices and systemic corruption that had festered beneath a veneer of idyllic suburban life. The incident at the lamppost, a brutal act of racism and abuse of power, served as a catalyst for change in Willow Creek. It exposed the hypocrisy and corruption within the police department, shattering the illusion of safety and equality that had long prevailed. But from the ashes of this traumatic event arose a phoenix of hope and resilience. Jasmine and Marcus, through their courage and determination, became beacons of light in a community shrouded in darkness. They inspired their neighbors to confront uncomfortable truths, to demand accountability, and to fight for a better future. Their story reminds us that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, the human spirit can triumph. It reminds us that love can endure even the most harrowing of trials, that resilience can blossom in the most barren of landscapes, and that justice, though often elusive, is always worth pursuing. The Bellwether's journey highlights the interconnectedness of our lives, the ripple effects of our actions, and the power of individuals to effect change. It underscores the importance of speaking truth to power, of challenging the status quo, and of never giving up on the fight for a more just and equitable society. Their story is a powerful reminder that we all have a role to play in creating the world we want to live in. It is a call to action, urging us to stand up for what is right, to speak out against injustice, and to never lose faith in the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. In the end, Willow Creek emerged from the crucible of conflict stronger and more united than ever before. The scars of the past remained, a reminder of the town's journey towards redemption, but they were also a testament to its resilience and its unwavering commitment to a future where justice and equality prevail. The story of Jasmine and Marcus Bellwether is a story of hope, a story of transformation. a story that resonates with the enduring human spirit's capacity for love, resilience, and the pursuit of justice. It is a story that will continue to inspire and empower generations to come.